The last tip is to have some sort of call guide and playbook to be more prepared and to have that in front of you and to use it as a guide for what to say, but we don't want you reading from it. And if you stop to think about the tips that we've given you here today, we've given you some stuff that you should say when you talk to prospects. We talked about having an elevator pitch, having some key questions to ask, being aware of what problems you resolve for your particular buyer. If you really use our methodology, those problems will be different when you go from different buyers from one to another. My buyers of sales manager versus salesperson, they have different problems. A sales manager is trying to hire and train and motivate and decrease turnover. A salesperson is trying to make their job easier, get results, make more money, not get fired. So different pain points. So when you start looking at it that way, there's a lot of different problems that you might need to be aware of. So it's hard to have all this floating around in your head. These are all items that you could have in your call guide. I mean, whether you want to call it a script or a guide, if you really don't feel comfortable with using a script, let's call it a guide. And so this is actually one of the documents that comes out of our software. And if you'll look at it, it is more of a guide. I mean, it's divided into sections. Here are your questions. Here are your common problems to mention. And mostly it's bullet points, and you could read from it exactly, but you can just have it in front of you to allow you to not forget the questions asked. It's not just for inside sales versus outside sales. It's not for new salespeople versus an experienced salespeople don't need it, or veterans of the company don't need it. We can all benefit from having the key questions and key points in front of us. So that's one format that SalesScripter actually displays your content in. We actually also display in another view, kind of like a single pane of glass view. We call this an interactive script because it displays everything sort of in one window. You have your whole call script there. You have your objection responses on the right, objections, and then objection responses on the right accessed. You have your voicemail scripts here. Everything you have is in this one view. Like I said, you can do everything we've talked about here today in Microsoft Word. But what we do is we make it easier for you to extract all the knowledge from your head, organize it into different buyers and different campaigns, and the software builds all these tools like emails and voicemail scripts and interactive scripts and call guides for you instead of having to have all these Microsoft Word documents. So